Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. Today I'll be showing you my recipe on how I make these meat-filled puff pastry pockets or Keema patties. So you don't want to miss this recipe for sure. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you already haven't done so, and if you have, thank you so much. So stay tuned and let's start cooking. Here are all the spices that you will need for this recipe. You will need 2 teaspoons of coriander powder, 1.5 teaspoons of cumin powder, 1 teaspoon of the ground black pepper, 1 teaspoon of the crushed red pepper flakes, half a teaspoon of red chili powder, and 1 teaspoon of salt. Again, adjust all of these accordingly to your taste. You'll need 2 tablespoons of the ginger and garlic paste, and this is the brand that I use, but you can use any that you like. You can also use fresh. And I'm using a pound of ground beef. You can also use ground turkey, ground lamb, ground chicken, but I'll be using ground beef. Go ahead and heat up a large skillet on medium-high heat. I do cook this in a very large skillet, so it just makes it easier. And because I am using ground beef, I won't be adding any oil, but if you prefer, you can always add oil. I went ahead and added my ground beef to the skillet with 2 tablespoons of the ginger and garlic paste. And now you want to go ahead and brown up this meat. Just keep breaking up all the larger chunks and brown this with the ginger and garlic paste. Make sure to break up all the larger chunks and keep browning this on medium-high heat. Once the meat is nice and brown, now it's time to go ahead and add all of the spices in there. So add everything in there, give it a good mix, and you're gonna keep frying this, sauteing this on medium heat. If you see it drying out, just add a teaspoon of water every now and then, but you do want this mixture to be completely dry. So go ahead and mix all of these spices and incorporate them in the meat. I purchased lean ground beef, so that is why I don't have that much fat in mine, but if you do, go ahead and drain that out. Keep mixing and stirring while this is on medium heat until it's fully cooked. You do want a dry mixture, so try your best not to add too much water to this. So just keep on mixing until it's fully cooked. It took me about 10 minutes that I kept sauteing the meat, and I kept frying the meat, or whatever you want to call it. All of these little strands that you guys see, these are from the ginger. So the ginger and garlic paste, that's what these are from right here. Now go ahead and take this off the stove. I've taken the meat off the stove, and you're gonna let this cool down completely before adding the onions, jalapeno, and cilantro. The reason behind that is if you add the onions right now, it's still hot, so the onions will release their water. So you don't want that. You want this, look at this meat, how dry it is. You want it extremely dry. Look at that. You again, make sure that there's no moisture in this mixture. So you let it cool down and then go ahead and add the onions, jalapeno, and cilantro. While the ground meat, whichever one you're using, is cooling down, go ahead and chop up your cilantro, dice up half an onion, and dice up a jalapeno. If you don't want it spicy, you can always leave out the jalapeno. If you want it a little bit less spicy, just take out the seeds and the membranes of the jalapeno. But make sure when you're doing that, use gloves or something like that, and don't touch your eyes because they will burn. The ground beef mixture has completely cooled down, so I went ahead and added the onions, jalapeno, and cilantro. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix this. Make sure the mixture is cooled down before you add all of these things, because you don't want the onions to release their moisture. So go ahead and mix all of these ingredients together. You can see how dry all of this mixture is. That is extremely important to make these patties, that all of this mixture is completely dry. Look at that. So let's start making the patties. This is the brand of the puff pastry that I will be using, but you can use any brand that you like. You can also get a full sheet and just cut it up to any shape or size that you like. These do come already cut into squares, and there's about 10 of these in each packet. If you are making these to freeze them, make sure that the plate that you place them on is lined with plastic wrap, and each layer should have plastic wrap between it. So I'll show you that once I start making them. Here's the square. You're gonna turn it around so it's a diamond, just like that. You're gonna take about less than a teaspoon, whatever fits on here. You don't want to overfill it. Just like that. Keep it as much to the center as possible. And now you're gonna take this top edge and fold it over just like that. You can make any shape that you like. I like triangles, so that's what I make. And then go ahead and seal up the edges just like this. And it gives it a nice design and it seals it up. So there you go. There's your patties. You don't want to overcrowd the plate that you're going to be freezing these in because they will stick together. And before you put the next ones on top, you do have to put a plastic wrap on top of these. So when you put the next ones on top, they won't stick together when you freeze them. So go ahead and put a plastic wrap around that. The batch that I'm ready to freeze is all ready to go. You can see I have saran wrap between each of the pockets or the patties. Look at this. And now it's ready to go in the freezer, and I'm gonna start the next batch that I'll go ahead and bake. Go ahead and preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and in a sheet pan, go ahead and place some parchment paper. And I also sprayed this parchment paper with a non-stick cooking spray. I'm gonna go ahead and spray this with a non-stick cooking spray so nothing sticks. On the baking sheet, I went ahead and spaced them apart a little bit so when they bake up, because they puff up a little bit, so you want a little bit of a space. And now it's time to go ahead and make the egg wash. You're gonna take one egg and just maybe like a little teaspoon of water and make an egg wash that you're gonna brush on top. Here's the egg, and I'm just gonna add like 1 teaspoon of water in there and go ahead and whisk it up. Here's the whisked egg. You're gonna take a brush just like this, dip it in the egg, and go ahead and coat these on top. Just like that. Again, you're just gonna dip it in here and just brush it on there, just like that. So go ahead and continue doing that with all of them. You do wanna make sure that all of them are covered with this egg wash because that will ensure that they brown up golden brown in the oven. Just like that. Okay, my oven has been preheated to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're gonna bake this for approximately 20 to 25 minutes, depending on your oven. So let's go ahead and bake these. It's been about 25 minutes, so let's go ahead and see. Wow, look at them, perfectly golden brown. I'm gonna go ahead and plate them and then show you what they look like from the inside. But this is the color they should be, perfectly golden brown. Check these out, guys. How delicious do they look? Perfectly golden brown patties, ready to enjoy. And this is what they look like on the inside, just like that. I am gonna go ahead and eat these up. Let them cool down a little bit before you take a bite out of them because the inside filling will be hot. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you already haven't done so. And if you have, thank you so much. Remember, always believe in yourself, love yourself, and take care of yourself. Until next time, gonna go enjoy my patties. Bye, guys.